Well, hello there. Welcome to the Differential Podcast with myself, AB, and my co-host here, Dr. JP. How you doing, mate?
Hey man, I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome to the first in will hopefully be an ongoing series of movie reviews. So, JP, what will we be talking about today, mate?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about Daniel Craig's James Bond universe.
Yes, and more specifically about his latest movie, No Time to Die. So, for those viewers who are looking to avoid full reviews without any spoilers, this might not be the podcast for you. So, major spoiler alert incoming.
Yeah, major spoilers. And we're going to be going back all the way, going back to Casino Royale and every movie in between until we get to No Time to Die.
Yeah, we have about 16 years worth of material to sort through. And yeah, so JP, mate, you've watched this movie recently. Okay, first of all, where do you rank Daniel Craig in the great in the pantheon of the great actors who've played James Bond?
Well, okay, so I got to say, there's been ups and downs with the James Bond, acting lineup. Let's just say that. I used to think initially my favorite Bond used to be Pierce Brosnan. I really liked his movies. When they first came out, I really liked his movies. I was like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. But then Casino Royale kind of changed all of it for me because I was like, wow, this is the prototypical Bond movie. This is what I expect.
Yeah.
I think obviously we can get into this. I'm sure it was inspired by Bourne, which we both love. Right. It very much came out of that mold, but I think they really delivered there. So as of right now, and to be straight off here, after Casino Royale, pretty disappointed in how it turned out. Everything turned out. We'll get into specifics, but nonetheless, I think just because of Casino Royale, I have to say Daniel Craig's James Bond is my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I personally found like I at the time I didn't make the connection between Casino Royale and the Bourne series just because um you know the whole the Bourne series that was being done at the time. I think we'd just done the second movie in 2006, or sorry, the last one in no, I think I'm wrong on again, two for two. Yeah, the Supremacy came out in 2004, so I wasn't really looking for parallels between them. But the more I watched Casino Royale, the more it became evident that I'm like, oh, hang on, they're doing the whole gritty, shaky cam, hand to hand dust ups, which is very, very signature for the Bourne franchise. And I personally feel that that was the movie that reinvented the modern action film. Not just
You
the
mean
modern spy
to
film.
be clear, you
Jason
mean
Bourne.
Bourne? Bourne,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Bourne Identity in 2002 or one, I think. Just a force of nature film. Great, like realism, terrific, camera work. Just everything was so well paced. And the original trilogy still stands the test of time. Can't say much for the follow-ups. Looking at you, Born Legacy, but
Yeah. I don't really even count that as part of
I actually don't even
the
count this
canon.
and Born, yeah, as the 2016 one with Matt Damon coming back. I really don't even understand why they had to do that. It's just a cash grab, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hollywood has a difficult time these days to just let things sit, let them be.
Yeah, just a difficult time making something original. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big problem, mate. Big problem. And it's interesting you mentioned you liked the Pierce Brosnan Bonds because I mean Pierce Brosnan was just suave, like I
Yeah.
never viewed him personally as like the typical Bond. He fit the mold, but he kind of always looked more like a cat burglar than he did as like a military brute. So like the whole Commander Bond
yeah, it
being
was more the
devastated.
style. Very much his Bond was very much what's that movie, the art movie that he did?
Thomas Crown.
Thomas Crown Affair, which I love. I really like that movie as well.
Hmm.
But basically, he's playing Bond in that movie, and the way he talks and the way he moves, his
Yeah,
charisma, right?
his confidence is so good, isn't it? As Bond or just any movie he does. Like that's the one thing I admired about Pierce Brosnan is just his posture, his movements, very graceful, very confident, very suave.
Yeah, and so Daniel Craig's Bond was a
Completely different.
yeah, it was a totally different. It was a huge departure from the style that Pierce Brosnan brought to the table, which I actually liked. You know, trying something new and different. It came after a few years after
Yeah, yeah.
Brosnan had done his thing, and when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is actually. I think it brought a sense of realism to Bond, Casino Royale, which I mean. And I'm kind of laughing as I say that because we know what happened after Casino Royale, all the movies that came after that, which I was like, they did kind of threw the realism out, just out the window at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, one thing I just wanted to point out before we go forward is when you say, Pierce Brosnan's movies were like, interesting to you. I'm sure a large part of that has to do with Bond's big comeback in '95 with Goldeneye, because everybody who I know that watched that movie, nobody has a bad thing to say. I've never heard anybody go, "Oh, Goldeneye, Jesus, what fucking boring movie," or whatever. I've never heard anybody say that. Oh, everyone I know enjoys that movie. It's a silly sort of like pseudo Cold War flick, it's fun. It's a fun romp. It's exciting, it's got that Bond feeling. I'm all over it. Funny enough, Martin Campbell, the director who did Goldeneye, was actually also the director who did Casino Royale. So hey, Bond people, the Broccoli family, if you guys need to reinvent the franchise, get Martin Campbell to direct your next Bond installment.
Yeah. Let's note that down as a topic to discuss. I want to ask you. I'm curious to know, and we'll discuss this at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
When they should do the next Bond, what it should be about, right? Who should they cast? That this is a topic that it's been beaten to death at this point. But let's talk about it. Let's put our own viewpoint on this, because it's still interesting, right? But yeah, okay. So maybe let's take a step back. Let's talk about the movie. So you watched it more recently than I did. So I want to hear from you first, because it's fresh in your mind. Give me your feelings about this recent movie.
So I actually watched it a few hours ago just for this podcast. So hashtag for the content, y'all. It was good. It was good. I would actually put this as probably the best Craig Bond venture out there since Casino Royale, in my estimation. The movie was a bit long, but
yes, it was.
I don't mind that sometimes, JP, because I really like it when they let the story do its thing. I don't mind a long movie as long as it's coherent and
Okay. I gotta interrupt. I gotta say something because I remember telling you about this guy. I actually watched it in the theaters.
Yeah.
Right. I think maybe it was relatively new, maybe a month after it came out or something. So I ventured to the theaters and it was long. And I have not been back. This is maybe the second movie that I've been to the theaters since the pandemic happened. So I was not used to, or I had become less used to being in theaters and sitting in one chair for 3 freaking hours. And I was in pain, man. Oh, wow. I was dying. I'm like, this has got to end at some point. It became uncomfortable to be sitting there for 3 hours. So that's the only thing I would say is like 3 hours, your body is just screaming at that point. At least my body is, because I got hip issues and shit. Like, giving a bit too many details here, but like I can't sit for 3 hours straight.
I can imagine, right? Like, because I had to take breaks while I was watching. I watched it at home, and I had to get up and put the kettle on and just.
They got to bring back the old school thing where the intermission, man. We need it.
Yeah, stretch for a bit, go smoke a cigarette and grab some candy and popcorn. Yeah. Oh mate. Yeah, I mean it was long, but I would say this is a massive return to form for the Craig James Bond character, right? We got all the modern, I think in my opinion, I think we saw all the modern plus like retro tropes of James Bond kind of crammed into one movie here. And it didn't feel annoying to me at any point, because like since Casino Royale, okay, let's actually do this. Let's just slice and dice here a little bit. Since Casino Royale, we've been through Quantum of Solace, we've been through Skyfall, then Spectre, and then this one. That's it, right? Am I forgetting anything in between? Because it feels like forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think you already named one too many movies there.
Yeah,
Wish I could cut a couple of them out. Yeah.
But I mean, so let's go in order. After Casino Royale, we were given Quantum of Solace. All right. Eh? What did you think?
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hugely, at the time, it was so disappointing. After Casino Royale, it's like they took a nosedive. I'm like, is this the same people that made Casino Royale, which actually it wasn't, right? Which is something I don't really get. Why not have the same director continue, right? I think about like, we talk about the Batman series a lot. We're huge fans of Nolan.
The Dark Knight series.
Dark Knight series, yeah. Yeah, maybe we should be specific because they made one too many Batman movies. And yeah, imagine if the Dark Knight series didn't have Nolan continue his movies, right? And have some random director X come along and make the next movie. It just wouldn't fit. Especially, sorry, to finish one point, especially because in these Daniel Craig movies, they're continuing the story from one movie to another, really linking them up, right? And not to have the same crew take it across, it really makes it difficult to make a coherent point come through.
Absolutely, mate. What I was going to say in between was these movies that they do, like, you can kind of see what happens. So if we take the Batman character as an example for continuity's sake, so you have the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight verse, as they call it, and a few years after Dark Knight Rises, we got Batman v Superman in like what, 2015, 16, something like that, and it's the same character carrying on, but it's directed by another hand. And how shit was that movie? Like, the difference between the two was like, sorry to all the DC fans who like
I'm not gonna apologize. That movie was shit.
I have to be frank, guys, because we do this off the cuff, and oh my goodness me, mate! Like, there's like, I think, intergalactic difference in movie making, in content, in the character realization, which to just contrast it with another continuing series made by the same hand. If you look at the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, Peter Jackson, one director, same crew, actors, movie makers, what have you, same location, do a 2.5 year shoot, wrap up 3 movies, get away with like what, 10, 11 Oscars or something like that, right? Just rob the Academy blind. That works.
Yeah, that definitely works. But I think what happened with these Bond movies is they didn't go in thinking, at least this is my suspicion, I don't know this for sure, but they didn't go in thinking, okay, hey, here's the full story I want to tell. Let me write it out from end to end, and let me slice and dice it into like 4 or 5 movies, and have sequels, real sequels come after another. What it seems like they've done is, let's make movie 1, and then after the fact, retrofit the plot for movie 2 to work with movie 1, and then so on. And what ends up happening is you just can't, you have to, walk through a million different, landmines to get that to fit. And it just doesn't end up working in the end.
Yeah, that's good, mate. That's really good. Well, I mean, one can argue then that, you know, um, Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame, he did have a blueprint in the completed trilogy of books by Tolkien. So he kind of had that going for him. He didn't really have to retrofit anything
Yeah.
until he got to the fucking Hobbit movies, which again, Peter Jackson made. Love ya, but the Hobbit trilogy made just go away.
Yeah.
Just go away.
I didn't even finish that, to be honest. I just watched the first one and I was done.
It's dreadful, man. It's the same thing, you know, like just cash grab. It's just a sloppy cash grab. It's awful. It's compared to the originals, it's rubbish. Like same way I would compare, you know, the Dark Knight trilogy to one of these Batfleck reincarnations of Batman. It has its merits in certain points, like, you know, there's some features which I like, but absolutely not compared to the vision that Christopher Nolan had. For those of you keeping score, I should just quickly, you know, point out, Christopher Nolan, pretty good director for both me and JP. You know, big fans here.
Yeah, you could start a drinking game in that amount of times we're going to mention Nolan, even though this has nothing to do with Nolan.
Hashtag hi Chris. Yeah. But yeah, mate. So we got Quantum, which was kind of felt like they were trying to do. It's like somebody watched Casino Royale in a foreign language and then just tried to recreate the action scenes and with the same filter. It just didn't work. Like I'm still trying to figure out what the plot of that movie was like. It was about dictatorial regime change. Was that it? Like
Quantum, right? You're talking about Quantum?
Quantum of Solace? Yeah. What was the plot there? Like I still struggle to explain to someone.
It just seems like a filler movie at this point, right?
It's so bad, mate. Like, and I think casting choices were dreadful. Like I don't know what to say. Like we've often talked about this. Like Olga Kurylenko just didn't fit the role of Camille Montez, who's supposed to be a Latina actress. Like I'm surprised there was not a more there wasn't a bigger uproar about that casting choice, or Camille Montez, I think her name was, because you know Hollywood is pretty, or I wouldn't say Hollywood, but the internet community is pretty quick to jump on.
I'm sure we could find if we went looking. I'm sure we could find people just going crazy about that.
Outrage. But you know, I didn't really buy Mathieu Almeric as the Bond villain. I'm like, sorry, mate, you look like somebody, this version of James Bond, this like Hulk version of James Bond would just snap into, you know, over a martini or something. Like he shouldn't have been a challenge, but yet he somehow was. Like no idea, no clue.
Yeah, I think it's, would you say Quantum is probably the weakest movie of the bunch?
It's close, you know, because like what Quantum kind of does for me is like I'm so numb to the plot details. I'm just like, this is just an action ride. Sometimes I'm able to kind of turn my mind off and just enjoy the movie because if nothing else, James Bond's movies, the whole franchise, is still one of the most more, I should say, watchable experiences in theaters, given the lights, the cinematography, the on-location shoots, the amount of money they spend on jet setting from location to location and filming there. It's a very creatively made franchise, so it's still watchable. It's a good glossy finished product. It's not always empty. Of course, we'll find out that's not always the case with these movies, but
that's an interesting point. Sorry, I was just going to say they do, these Bond movies, one thing they do well is they don't use a lot of CGI, right? It's a lot of live action on, you know, on set or in the field, action sequences, which is not the trend that's happening in Hollywood these days.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on Hollywood's over reliance on CGI, because it single-handedly ruined some great movie ideas that, you know, even back in the day just weren't ready for the CGIfication of the main characters or big parts in the movie. And yeah, I mean, there's numerous movies I can point out, but I love that, mate. Like, I love classical movie making techniques. You know, I'm a huge fan for like practical effects, and I'm very, very picky with CGI. There's not a lot of it that looks good. It's very obvious.
Yeah, because
That's a
it throws
whole.
you off. It throws you off completely,
It takes
right?
you out of the immersion, absolutely.
You can immediately tell that this is not reality,
And this is a
right?
whole separate topic we can bang on about.
Yeah, maybe we should do a whole podcast on this.
CGI, yeah, in movies and when it's good and when it's bad. And I just want to quickly shout out to all the underpaid and overworked animators and CGI artists out there. Um, Trust me, guys, I am trying to get the word out about your pain and how much work you have to do in the short amount of time, and it's not fair to them. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, of
tough to be
course.
a CGI animator, mate, and
It's
yeah,
difficult.
it's a hellish job.
And like I want to be clear, like the CGI has improved leaps and bounds
Hmm.
in the last whatever 2 decades, whatever you want to look at. It's
Yeah.
great. They do a lot of great work, but you need, as a director, as a movie maker, you need to know when to use it properly. I think there is a place for it, but you need to use it sparingly. You need to use it strategically to really make it fit within your movie. But these days, it's just become a crutch where you just throw money at this thing and make the entire thing a green screen monstrosity, and it just doesn't work.
Well, I would think it's a cost-cutting measure. You know, why film on location in, for example, Turkey when you can just green screen the shit out of Turkey because there's so
Well,
much,
doesn't it cost a lot of money to do make the CGI, like
not as
heavy
much money
CGI?
as flying, I would imagine, like a
I don't
crew
know.
of 1,000
Maybe.
or 500 people to do a shoot in Turkey, especially for an action movie. You know, stuntmen, cameramen, makeup people, actors, directors, the whole crew that goes up for lighting, etc.
Yeah.
Like
And
just
it's
if you,
more
yeah,
difficult. It's more difficult to get people physically there, definitely, and organize them logistically, and actually go shoot it, deal with the elements,
yeah,
right? The lighting, etc. It's definitely
yeah,
more
because
difficult.
like you know, not always do you plan your shoots for certain days, and not always will you get the weather you want. So I think that's another reason they choose to sometimes say, okay, our shooting dates are falling in line with an unfavorable time of the year. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get CGI animators to do this entire sequence. And, you know, if you don't give them enough time and you have only like a team of 10, 15 people to do a scene of, I don't know, 5 minutes, it's a lot of work, mate. Like you need hundreds of workers to do that well. And there are movies where it's really well done. Like you cannot even tell. And you're just, at the end, you're like, wow, that was CGI. That was amazing.
You know,
Very few.
I want to give one example, which where I thought CGI was done really well and it really fit and it improved the outcome.
Mhm.
And that's Game of Thrones, where they use the dragons, where the dragons are CGI,
Yeah.
and really to do that as a live action thing, I don't even know how they would do that. I
Yeah.
don't think it would work. And I think they had everything else was not CGI in whatever scenes that the dragon is placed in,
Yeah.
but the dragon itself is CGI, and they put a lot of money into that. And I think that came out pretty well in the end. Would you agree?
I think Game of Thrones did a fairly decent job with the dragons. Like, yeah, you know, they weren't shown for a lot of in a lot of well lit scenes, I would say. Like maybe they were little, so it didn't have to animate the whole beast in scale.
Well,
But
like
towards
at
the
the end of the
end,
series, they
yeah,
definitely did do that though.
yeah. But these are tricks, right? They use these tricks to kind of obscure CGI. They always show it in the dark.
No, they definitely had scenes. You could be
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like
but
in a lot of scenes that they did do these tricks to obscure it, not show the whole thing,
yeah.
and only show it for a few
Seconds,
seconds.
yeah.
But then they were at the end of the series. They had battle scenes in full
Yeah, extensive
daylight,
ones, absolutely.
extensive ones that
Yeah.
that I think came out pretty well.
Yeah, and just on your point, mate, like I remember there was this movie in the late 90s, I think 98, called Dragonheart with Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery voicing the dragon, which I have to say for its time, you know, really good dragon effects.
Yeah, I remember that movie. And
I watched the making of it, and it was kind
yeah,
of interesting to see how they composited the dragon on there. And I'm like, okay,
no, that was a good movie. And the 90s has some a couple of good dragon related movies. There's the other one with
oh, Reign of Fire.
Reign of Fire with Christian
Yes.
Bale. I
Oh
love
my
that movie.
goodness, mate. That is such an underrated movie. Although it did come out, I think, in 2002
Oh, is it?
or
It seems like a
99.
90s movie
Actually, I
though.
think maybe 99. Let me check.
99? Yeah,
2002. 2002.
2002. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mate, that is an underrated movie if I've ever watched one. Great plot. Great plot. Original. Very
Yeah,
original plot.
very underrated. Almost nobody knows about it.
Yeah. If
Um,
somebody has a dragon fetish out there, be sure to check out Dragonheart and Reign of Fire. A couple of good flicks.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And I'm glad they didn't make any sequels out
oh,
of
thank
that.
goodness.
No. All right, all
Jeez.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
getting back to
yeah. Big
topic.
tangent there. Let's get back to topic. Yeah.
With the look at the Bond movie. So you asked me about Quantum of Solace. Is it the worst in the franchise? I would say it's probably, yeah, the worst of the whole franchise because it's the direct follow-up to Casino Royale. It's a different director who just didn't seem to get the best out of what he was given. Maybe the script was just pure rubbish. Like they just wanted to cash in on the the recent success of Casino Royale, so they just banged out a sequel as soon as they could. While Daniel Craig was fresh, they tried to tack in a couple of like hot newcomers into the fold and just see how they
Who's
throw.
who's the other Bond girl?
Gemma Arterton from
Oh, right,
Prince
right,
of
right.
Persia, Sands of Time or something fame.
Yeah, another terrible movie.
Yeah, the British actress. Yeah, she was there for like I think what 5 minutes.
Yeah, she didn't have a big role.
Yeah, I
She
cannot.
whatever, some hotel scene, right? She was
Yeah, she's the girl who dies in the homage to Goldfinger. She's like the one. He drowns her in oil and throws her
yeah,
into Bond's bed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Quantum of Solace didn't make an impact on me, mate. Not at all.
No, no, it was terrible. It was a huge disappointment. I remember, I think we were both like super, super excited about the next, the follow up to Casino Royale, and it's just what a
Yeah, I
letdown
mean,
that was.
oh, garbage. I think, yeah, I think it was the absolute like wrong direction to go with the Bond franchise because one of the things I disliked about Quantum was this whole notion of Vesper's continuing legacy. Like I'm like, could you not have like condensed it in between movies that Bond kind of like followed Vesper's trail and got through the network using Mr. White that he captured at the end of Casino and given us a fresh start? Because like the movie literally picks up as Bond is driving out of Italy, or
Yeah.
rather driving from one town in Italy to another. I think Lake Como to Siena, I
Mhm.
think is the continuity. And it's just, I don't know, man. I would have preferred to maybe start that follow up in different direction because then you attach it to Casino Royale, and that's what I feel has been the downfall of all the whole Daniel Craig Bond series is this continual reliance on Vesper Lind. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I loved Ava Green's performance as Vesper Lind. Haunting, smart, tenacious, everything you want from your prototypical, or like not prototypical, but like a new upcoming breed of like heroine or portrayed by a very talented actress. Because like, I don't know, Ava Green, I've watched Penny Dreadful series, and she was astonishing in that. Like I'm like, my God, somebody give this woman an Oscar at some point because she can act, mate. Like she can act,
Yeah.
just amazing talent.
Yeah, she was yeah, her character, was great. She
Mm-hmm.
acted incredibly well. She looked beautiful
Yeah,
doing it.
it's a
Yeah.
well-written character, very well-rounded. And I think for me, the best thing about that whole thing was about Casino Royale's plotline was that she was flawed. She wasn't one-dimensional character. She had, multiple facets associated with it. Like she shows up trying to play cool and trying to like go toe to toe with Bond. Then she kind of, gets involved in what they're planning and in Montenegro with the game and with the card game. And then, eventually she ends up, falling for Bond. And then she realizes her priorities. And then she eventually turns out to be the secondary villain, I would almost say, or the surprise villain of that movie franchise. And it was brilliantly done. It's great writing, terrific acting, great execution overall. So it was a haunting performance, like Vesper's death at the end of Casino Royale. I mean, that's hard to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why we love that movie, right? Because
great non-Bond twist at the end. Because all these fucking former Bond movies, mate. Your Brosnans, your Daltons, and your God forbid your Roger Moores at that. Just Bond gets the girl, thwarts world domination or world destruction. Off he goes, having a merry old time before the credits roll. Right.
Yeah.
This one was a bit of a shock ending because we thought the movie ended when they got Le Chiffre, but there was like still 40 minutes of the movie left, and that was a great like clincher for me. I was like, okay, these guys did a great job with this movie. This is one for the ages.
So an interesting thought just popped in my head, which I've never really had, is would you say that like Vesper, her Bond character, is that the most significant character for a Bond girl that has existed in any of these Bond movies? Because it tends to be that Bond is just just the Bond girls are just there just as eye candy.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
In distress. Yeah, sex symbols basically.
Right, and that wasn't the case with Vesper. Like she had a very much strong character, well-developed character. She had a significant role in the storyline. And even after the movie, right? Like, as you said, like what she did ends up impacting all the subsequent movies as well.
But to a detriment, because that first role was written so well. And I think you're spot on, mate. Like, I think, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't even properly like get attached to each other until I think about 85% of the movie was done with. It was in that recovery center where they, first like hooked up, I guess. But for the most part of that movie, she's basically on par with Bond. She's treated as an equal. Like she's a person of even more importance than Bond's, like,
well, she controls the money.
Contact. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how it should be, right? Like you look at some of these older Bond flicks, mate, it's just like cardboard cutouts of like skimpy outfits and just pointless, like what is this, like what is this character even, like exactly what I'm talking about. Dr. Christmas Jones in fucking A World Is Not Enough.
Like, oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Jesus.
Just the most ridiculous character.
She's a nuclear scientist, is she?
Yeah.
Come on, mate. Like it's just, it's bad. The legacy of these Bond movies with women roles, there's not many. Although I will give an honorable mention to Grace Jones in View to a Kill.
I don't think I've watched that one.
Movie.
Yeah, I never watched that one.
She actually plays the top, the henchman of the bad guy. Is actually played by Christopher Walken, of all people. It is one of the funnier Bond movies because it's just Christopher Walken. He's so bizarre as a villain. Like he's just bizarre in general in whatever role he does. But to see him in a Bond movie, it's just like, is this an Austin Powers spoof?
I think I'd rather watch Austin Powers.
But yeah, mate, like she was I mean, if for those of you who don't know Grace Jones, she was about before your time. She was I would say she was an actress, a model, with the body of a Greek goddess, basically. And she was the antithesis of like the magazine girls on the cover at the time. She was strong, she was fearsome, and more importantly, she was an actress of African descent. So it was a huge deal at the time to have Grace Jones play like pretty much the secondary baddie in that movie, and I think she whooped poor old Sir Roger Moore all around, the filming locations.
Yeah, I'm just looking because I didn't actually know about this, and I'm just looking it up. She was born in 1948. My God.
Jesus, wow.
Yeah.
And I think she's still got everything, well under control. Like, because I think she hasn't aged a day.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how she looks now.
Wow, she's Jamaican American actress, model, singer. Really? Oh, I did not know that. But yeah, mate.
Cool.
For those of you who don't, check out Grace Jones's body of work. She is amazing. I first came to know her in Conan the Destroyer. She was part of Arnie's crew and stuff. But yeah, she's amazing. Doesn't get enough credit, I feel. But yeah, so Vesper Lynd's character, definitely. I mean, all the Bond movies, the whole Daniel Craig James Bond actually lives in the shadow of Vesper Lynd's legacy. Let's just say it like it is.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to talk about...
Oh, mate, I have been waiting for this.
Yeah,
this is your favorite Bond, is it? Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall.
Let us talk about this, because here's where things are going to get very spicy.
Yeah, I think we're going to say a lot of controversial stuff here.
Yeah.
So
should we issue a trigger warning first?
Yeah, maybe we should. I don't know who's listening out there, but by all accounts, if I were to summarize, looking at the web, looking at the media, Skyfall is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Right? The reviews,
that's the general opinion.
Yeah, that's the sense I get, at least. The reviews that came out after Skyfall came out, I'm like, I think you and I were like, wow, we got to check this thing out. Mm-hmm. Like, how good is this thing? Is it setting a new trend here? What's happening, right?
Well, okay, so let's just give them a little bit more, background. We were impressed by the trailer and the shots of the movie that came out. The movie looked incredibly polished.
Yeah, and we were all like, what the hell is Skyfall? Like, the whole movie, I was like, okay, it revealed to me what Skyfall is. A great name. Love the name. Maybe that maybe adds to the charm of the movie, because it's way better than Quantum of Solace. I don't know what the fuck Quantum of Solace means.
Worst name for a Bond movie I've ever heard, mate. Like, that's like, yeah, no, not even gonna go there. It's gonna take too long until I bitch out the stupid name Quantum of Solace. Yes, I'm aware it's a phrase from one of the stupid Bond short stories. Moving on.
Yeah. So yeah, give me your thoughts about Skyfall. I mean, we've kind of said we didn't like it, but tell me more.
Well, I mean, we haven't established that we haven't liked it yet. We just said, oh, it looked really interesting, but JP, I did not like the movie Skyfall whatsoever.
How dare you? That's not allowed.
It's just, mate, I came out, I was so excited. You have Daniel Craig, you have Naomi Harris, you have Ralph Fiennes, you have Judi Dench, you've got bloody Javier Bardem in it. You even have, what's her name? Totally spazzing out. Oh no, it wasn't her. No. It was that French model girl, whose name again I forget. But
is a Bond girl in there?
Was that?
She's a Bond girl.
Yeah, she's the Bond girl in.
Yeah, let me look it up.
Yeah, I can't remember her name. Bernardine? No.
Oh, okay. Bernice Marlowe. Bernice Marlowe.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
Fresh casting.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, great, great choice of star cast. How can you not be excited? Like, I think Bardem facing off with Daniel Craig was like, okay, now we're talking Bond villains. Because if you remove the filters, and if Bond wasn't necessarily British, I think Javier Bardem could have made a great James Bond as well. Like, he's got all the traits I think Daniel Craig has. Maybe.
I mean, maybe back in the day.
Yeah.
I just can't look past his role in No Country for Old Men. Right. When I think of Javier Bardem, that's the role I'm thinking of. That's his best role as far as I've seen.
All right. Let's just put a pin in this one right now, mate. We will come back and watch and review probably No Country for Old Men, because blimey O'Reilly, mate, what oh my god, what a performance. I still have nightmares about that character.
Yeah. That's one of the
Chigurh.
scariest fucking characters I've ever seen.
Terrifying. And
right?
Just sadistic, mate. Like that he carries that movie. That movie's more about that character than it is about anything else going on in the movie, for me personally. Great performance.
Definitely.
So you can imagine my delight at them choosing to cast a proper actor as a Bond villain. I'm like, okay. Mads Mikkelsen, I thought was great as Le Chiffre, but I'm like, oh, okay, this movie might do something here. I came out of the theater. I was pissed off. I was just shaking my head. I was pissed off, mate, because I'm like, what was the plot again? What was the plot of this movie? Like, so Silva's some agent, but he's also some world-renowned, beating hacker. And how does he plan? Okay, how does he plan all these things? How does he know? Okay, he might know the contingency plans for MI6 if the headquarters gets obliterated, where they're going to move and how they're going to set up. Maybe he was part of that planning committee. I don't know. I can get that leeway. I can give him that leeway. But his whole escape from MI6 after having been supposedly willfully caught, and then his subsequent antics as the movie goes on, the whole standoff at the decrepit old mansion of James Bond where he was brought up, basically Home Alone for seniors. Rubbish. They should have stood no chance. It's not exciting. It's comical to me.
The whole hacking thing. Oh my god.
Oh god.
That just pissed me off to no end. Hollywood just doesn't know how to do hacking. Like the whole computer hacker persona, they just don't know how to do it. They don't understand it. They don't care to understand it, because there's a way to do it properly, and there's a way to add drama to it. This is not it. This is just laughable.
I know exactly what you're referring to. It's a cartoonish way of showing how hacking is done. Like you would expect that in Looney Tunes, where you have Q, who's the tech guy, and he can't solve Silva's algorithm or the virus Silva's uploaded after having masterfully plugged in Silva's laptop to the MI6 network, right? And then it's Bond who actually figures out how to crack the code. Like, I get your heroes are, the driving force of the movie, but do they have to know more than the IT tech guy? There's a reason we call tech support when our phone, shuts down.
Most people don't know shit about IT or tech.
Oh, so that pissed me off.
Like it doesn't make sense for James Bond to know anything about that. He's a guy in the field. He's a guy that's out there to do the the soldiering aspect of the job. In a real military and a real intelligence setup, those are two different, very, very different jobs, right? And you have a whole set of different training systems for those two jobs. One is using your brain, using your technology knowledge. One is learning to become a soldier, an intelligence officer, to maybe manipulate people, whatever it might be. Those are two different disciplines, and conflating them or even making it seem like Bond can figure it out just doesn't work.
Because I think you need a lifetime of training to do either profession, and to suggest that Bond would just casually have a look at the screen and just solve the...
And like these things, the other thing that Hollywood just doesn't get, and I kind of understand why they don't get it, because this hacking thing, very rarely does it happen in real time, right? It takes time for these things to happen. They don't really necessarily happen in real time and really, really quickly with a bunch of drama playing out. It's more drawn out. Now I get the challenges of translating that to a movie that is action based. So I get that challenge. There's a way to do it, but you just gotta actually do your research, actually talk to people who work in that field and understand them.
I just don't think Hollywood gets that the hacking part, mate. They use it almost non-stop in their movies. Like I
Yeah,
don't think there's a
it's a
movie.
big crutch.
Yeah,
And
but yeah,
yeah, I don't think almost 99% of Hollywood movies that showcase hacking don't get it right.
yeah.
I think the only one that comes to mind that's gotten it right is Mr. Robot, that TV series.
Oh yeah, yeah. A nice little cross connection with No Time to Die with Rami Malek.
Yeah, yeah. Rami Malek's in that. He does an amazing job. Has probably his defining role as an actor.
Great series, by the way.
Yeah, great series.
Give it a watch if you haven't, and you need something. And if you have plenty of Prozac at hand, that would be kind of, yeah.
That thing is so dark. I have not finished it actually. I stopped at season 2. I'm like, I don't know if I can take season 3 here.
Yeah, with the pandemic, maybe not the best thing to watch, but
Yeah.
if you're just a fan of, good, solid, tightly written TV shows, apps, and performances, mind you, just give it a watch. It's a great tour de force by Rami Malek and co. But mate, yeah, Skyfall. Honestly, just for me, it was just a beautifully designed shell of a movie. Just it was empty inside. There was nothing there. Like Silva's plan made no sense. I have a question actually. So you remember the particulars of Silva's plan, right? Like he gets caught, then he conjures up this miraculous subway escape, all in order to go have a shot at killing Judi Dench's character. Now, I've been thinking about this. Do you think this is kind of using the Dark Knight Joker escape playbook?
That is exactly what I was thinking of. I was going to bring that up. I was waiting for my moment to bring that up. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. And these are two use, showcases of one is the proper way to do it.
Yeah.
And one is how not to do it. Right.
It just doesn't work for Javier Bardem's character. He's not crazy in that movie. He's off his rocker, but he's a tech guy.
He's kind of trying to do the Joker thing though, like his mannerisms, the bleached blonde hair,
the facial disfigurement. Yeah, absolutely, man, on the money. But you can't help taking from something good. Again, the whole Vesper Lynn thing. This is a takeaway from Heath Ledger's incredible performance in The Dark Knight. So my point is, like, I got those vibes very, very quickly because I'm like, this is kind of like the same thing the Joker did in The Dark Knight. Like, he gets caught on purpose, then has this miraculous sort of like escape. But in his context of the Joker, it makes a lot of sense.
And they didn't overcomplicate it.
That's right.
Like, it was very simple. The guy, whatever, he embedded, an explosive device within some guy's body, and it just went off and he escaped.
That's doable. Like, if you wanted to like think, oh, how would that be possible? You could say, oh yeah, Joker's guys got some random thug up the street, did the thing, and then sent him in, got him arrested at the right time. It's completely believable. But like, if I ask you to give me, how do you think Silva planned it? You can't tell me how he knew there was a train that was going to arrive at the very moment Bond stopped him, and he was able to drop that train, which was surprisingly not full of passengers at rush hour in the morning. I'm going to say bullshit on that. No way. Rubbish. Like I said, I think Skyfall is a beautiful movie. It's well made, well cast, but story-wise makes no sense. And
the climax is so underwhelming. It's just, okay, let's just go hide out in a cottage. With no defenses, all out in the open.
It could have been smart, mate. Like, if you think about it, I think that's the whole the Predator face-off from the Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where the Predator's high tech and Arnie's got nothing, so he uses a jungle to beat the Predator. I think it's the same kind of.
Yeah, but they didn't go to the jungle, right?
Yeah, but they're going to a low-tech place, right? Like, it could have been interesting to see Bond use nature or the terrain to defeat.
Go all Rambo on him, like.
Yeah, but what did we get, mate? We got fucking Albert Hirsch, playing Jeeves the butler with his crusty accent and no weaponry, and like, what was this? It was dreadful. That That shouldn't have been a fight. He showed up in a military attack
He had a
helicopter.
freaking attack helicopter, man.
Come on, man. Like you can't tell me the movie's great and then have it make no sense. I think people were just blown away by the visuals because it's visually, Sam Mendes is an amazing director.
And how underwhelming was it that the name, like, Skyfall just means his old childhood home.
I don't know. I mean, when I first heard Skyfall, honestly, it brought up memories of Goldeneye because I'm like, oh, this sounds like a really Bond name, Goldeneye. Fucking Skyfall. All right, this should be good. Not so. And I mean,
what an over-the-top name for your home estate or whatever. Who the fuck names their estate Skyfall?
Well, it makes sense because you have lots of foggy areas in Scotland, so maybe it was close to the lake. I guess there was a lake behind the house.
It just seems a bit over the top for me. Like I was expecting some sort of, I don't know, weapon or something, right? Which they end up doing in Bond movies a lot, so that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, weapon of doom. But yeah, mate. I just didn't enjoy Skyfall at all. I think people were just blown away by how well it looked, and all the.
So do you think that's it? That it just had some great scenery, and so
that's it. I literally think that's it. Like if you compare it to Quantum of Solace, it's a beautiful looking movie. I mean, Sam Mendes, I actually think he makes really good movies. I absolutely love 1917, which was also made by him, which is an incredible.
I just want to read you the ratings of Skyfall.
Oh my god, don't do this. Can I read you the ratings and you can go berserk for once, please?
No, I already know it. So I'm looking at it right now. I already went berserk, inside. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. 7.8 on IMDb, which is a really good rating on IMDb. So there you go.
As the great Charles Barkley says, come on, man.
I know. It's like Chuck would be like, this is a bunch of BS.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Audience score is actually lower, 86% on audience score.
That's still high. Tell me what the audience score for freaking Batman Begins is. That's our barometer.
That's a barometer. Batman Begins, 2005. Let's see. 94% audience score.
Okay.
84% critics tomato meter.
Good.
Yeah, what a
now
rating.
It makes sense. Yeah. Now it makes sense a little bit more. Okay. But I still don't think Skyfall is that like it should be getting those levels of ratings because I didn't feel it, mate. I felt nothing, as a cinephile and an objective viewer of movies. I'm a bit of a nerd for movies, so I know my actors, I know the directors, I know where it was shot. I can go on and on about this stuff, but I didn't feel nothing. I felt hollow at the end of Skyfall, pretty much like the movie. Okay. And any other deets about Skyfall we have been harboring in, because it's not good to keep things inside. They can give you cancer.
Yeah. I might already have cancer at that point then.
Just a little house reference, guys. Nothing malicious. Yeah.
No, let's move on. What do we got
Spectre.
next? Yeah.
JP, we watched Spectre together, right? When we met up in 2016.
Yeah, is it I can't even remember now. That's a long time ago.
Spectre's the one with the amazing Sam Smith Born number.
Yeah. That's a good song.
Yeah.
So Spectre, yeah.
No, Spectre's the one with Ernst Stavro Blofeld finally revealing himself to complete the
main baddie.
Stupid, 80s Spectre throwback arc. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's where they reveal that, okay, all the Bond, correct Bond villains that you've seen, they're really, just a bunch of henchmen, or not henchmen, but like lieutenants for Blofeld. Like he's the top dog,
Yeah.
and which to me kind of dilutes all the previous movies, because I'm like, okay, in these previous movies, you set it up to be this end of world situation, and I'm facing this crazy baddie, and now you're telling me,
or this omnipotent organization, rather, because
yeah,
like
yeah,
remember, they're everywhere, they're inside everything, they have people everywhere, right? That was the overall
which is
plan.
again, that's such a cop out for me. Like if you're gonna make every movie like that, then it becomes old really fast. Like
No,
this
but it's just too
Illuminati
ambitious.
type of
It's too
situation.
it's too ambitious. You can't pull that off, because you mean to tell me this organization has people everywhere. So now you have an organization that's even more lethal than that. So why don't they have people everywhere? Like,
Yeah,
what's the hierarchy? How does that make sense? Because if you have one organization, Quantum, which has people everywhere, and then you have Spectre, which is sort of like an even bigger, badder version of Quantum, then what the fuck chance do the good guys even have? Like, why are there any good guys at all? Why don't these people run the world?
yeah, and then you have just one guy running around destroying them, which doesn't make any sense either, without any help, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
just not realistic. Not realistic writing.
And people are going to push back, be like, "Oh, this is Bond. It's not supposed to be realistic. Chill out and just enjoy it." Blah blah blah. I'm like, I guess that's just not our style of watching movies. We want to see something pseudo realistic. I understand movies need to, you know, take a creative license, have a creative license. I get that.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do it such that you're basing it in reality and not going into cuckoo land.
Yep. Yep. You know what it is? It's like, sometimes when you make a movie, and I'll use a great analogy just based off what we were discussing earlier. CGI, right? So you see some scenes in movies where the odds of surviving something for the protagonist are so low that they do something with the aid of CGI that just makes most people roll up their eyes. For example, Legolas's escape in one of these stupid Hobbit follow-up movies where the bridge is collapsing and he's literally Mario, hopping from collapsing brick to collapsing brick. Like, that's not how physics works. Like
Yeah.
it takes the tension out of the movie for me. Like when I see bullshit like that, I'm
So
just like,
yeah, to me, I guess what I would say is set the rules of your world, right? To me, if you lay out the rules of your world that you're basing this movie in, and then you follow those rules, I'm okay with that. So in the case of this fantasy world that Legolas exists in, I'm kind of okay with that because it's a fantasy world and there is no physics. They're making up their physics as they go.
yeah,
Right. So they've defined the rules of the world where magic exists, dragons exist,
yeah,
elves
yeah.
exist, and gravity doesn't really exist. So they can do whatever. So I'm actually fine with that. But then in the world of Bond, they are
Yeah.
taught. It's very much related to the world that we have today. Bond works for the UK government, right? That's a real entity in the real world, right? So I expect there to be a sense of reality to the things that we see in these Bond movies.
Yeah. But I mean, there's too much creative license. Like, the danger's just not real. See, this is why I think Casino Royale was so great, because we actually saw James Bond getting his ass kicked. We saw him sweat, we saw him bleed. Like that opening foot chase where he chases the Ellipsis character, the incredible parkour chase through Madagascar, or wherever they were. Maldives.
Yeah,
I think it was Madagascar.
I think it was Madagascar.
Mate, you saw Bond barely being able to keep up with this guy, and he had to get creative, right? There was no physics defying shit on this. Like, that scene on the crane was absolutely nerve wracking. Like, I genuinely wondered, like, oh, this chase might end. Bond might not catch this guy if he gets away, like, to a suitable distance, or he does something crazy off this crane. The danger was real because it was, I don't know. Yeah, like sometimes it's just, bullshit. The rules are just like thrown out the window. Like, you're just making it for the sake of you're just making up rules for the sake of adding tension. But what you do is you actually take out tension. You don't put any in. It just becomes less believable.
Yeah. Yeah, it adds that tension. It lets the audience know that the main guy can get hurt. He's not invincible. There's a reason to continue watching, because if I know he's not going to get hurt, then why would I continue watching?
Mate, how many times did Casino Royale do this to us? Like, again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse or keep reviving Vesper Lynn's story arc, but I have to get this off my chest, because in Casino Royale, Bond almost gets decapitated in a stairwell by a African dictator wielding or a rebel leader wielding a machete. Then he almost gets his heart stopped by being poisoned, and it's Vesper actually who fucking comes in and saves him at the last moment. He almost dies in a car wreck before the movie's done, and he almost gets himself tortured to death. That's 4.
By the way, we got to talk about that. The amount of times he got hit in his balls. How the hell did he have kids after that? We're gonna talk about.
Yeah, that should have neutered him proper.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're not having kids after that. I don't know what this is about.
In his defense, like, how many times did he get hit? 3 in that before?
I don't remember. Yeah, but like, I still feel that pain. Like it was that bad.
Brutal. That was, see, again, lads, this is what makes Casino Royale an amazing movie and a tough act to follow, which is why you have to get creative. I guess, okay, let me ask you this. Had we not endured Quantum of Solace, and had we condensed Quantum of Solace into a forethought before Skyfall began, would you have received Skyfall a little bit better than we did?
No, I mean, I like to think I'm judging Skyfall on the merits of that movie, which to me didn't do it. Didn't do much. And like, we actually forgot to mention the part of Bernice Marlowe, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just wanted to point out, like, the trailer gave such a misleading picture of her role in Skyfall.
Right.
The trailer made it seem like she had this amazing, expansive role, and if I'm remembering correctly,
right, yes, because the publicity stills and stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was all over.
The place. Yeah.
Right, and then when you go watch the freaking movie by itself, her role is nothing. It's useless. Like, I could cut out her role and the movie would still be plausible.
Oh, absolutely agree. Who was the girl in Skyfall? Really, it ended up being Moneypenny.
Moneypenny. Yeah, was there another Bond girl?
Well, I think there was a girl like.
Oh, there was another one.
Shacking up with in Greece after he watched.
No, she was just like there for a
scene.
She was
there for a brief second, yeah. But no, there wasn't.
Yeah, I guess not.
Well, absolutely wasn't.
Yeah, I guess it's Moneypenny.
Yeah, so Moneypenny and Bernice Marlowe, and then we come straight to Spectre, and we get this whole setup. Oh my gosh, we have this even bigger, the biggest of bad guys, Blofeld, and we bring back the hits. We bring back the Pale King, Mr. White from Casino Royale. This guy is a cockroach, apparently. He just doesn't go away. Like, what the fuck? He got shot in the first movie, at the end of the first movie. He went missing at the beginning of the second. I don't know, mate. Like, do you think Mr. White's character was just a magical, like,
the plot device?
Yeah, plot.
He's just a plot device, yeah.
But again, it's too much reliance on Casino Royale hits. Like, you can't keep bringing back those discarded threads over and over and over again. Expect audiences to like enjoy them. Because I was okay with, you've got Mr. White in for a odd cameo. That's fine. But then later he goes on to become incomprehensibly important part of this finale of this Bond arc.
Yeah, it got really annoying, if I'm being honest. Like, to keep harking back to these old threads and somehow finding a link, and then trying to continue to extrapolate that further. It just became really annoying.
Mishmash, mate. Like, yeah, incomprehensible at one point. Again, Sam Mendes did Spectre as well, I believe. Really well shot movie. I would say it's better than Skyfall, though. At least it had some, good Bond stuff going on.
Yeah.
There was a nice, good villains layer and stuff. I was really disappointed with the whole Blofeld angle, though. I have to say, I love Christoph Waltz, mate. Like, I think he's a terrific actor. Just really fun to watch. The fact that he does English language movies, not being native English and it being his second language pretty much, he just like disappears into roles, doesn't he? Like anything he's in pretty much. He's fantastic.
No, he's a great actor. What I was gonna say though is, Spectre was marginally better than Skyfall.
At least they had a plot.
Yeah, it was marginally better.
And to me, it actually felt like that was the big send-off for the Daniel Craig character, where they have the whole setup with all the past villains flashing by, and what did you think when that happened?
Wait, remind me of the scene again. I'm forgetting now.
Well, in the end, when the old MI6 site is rigged to be demolished to make way for the new building, I think they kidnap Madeleine Swan's character, who's the daughter of Mr. White, and then Bond has to navigate this passage that's like elaborately been set up by Blofeld with all references to the other movies. So you have Le Chiffre, you have Vesper, just yawn. And of course, Bond saves the day, rescues Madeleine Swan, Léa Seydoux, and he shoots down Blofeld's helicopter using a sidearm.
Again, like ridiculous stuff. It's possible you could with like an amazing shot, maybe, I don't know.
But he was on a boat, mate. He was on like a speedboat. You know how stable those things are in river water in the Thames at night?
That, and like usually it takes like to get down a helicopter with sidearms, usually you gotta like put in a few bullets in there, right?
Yeah, mate. Like it's just, and apparently Blofeld survived that crash without any injuries. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Again, like what the fuck?
Just come on.
Like give us some sort of realism. I guess they were just like, yeah, fuck it, let's just go all out at that point.
Yeah, because I guess they must not have known that he's going to come back to do another one.
Which goes back to my point where they haven't established the plot up front, and they're attaching it after the fact to create some sort of Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, great segue to transition into the final, the fifth of the Craig Bond movies, No Time to Die, 2021, because they literally take a story from Spectre. Madeleine Swan tells James Bond, there was a time he's trying to teach her about gun safety en route to the villain's lair, and she gives him a story about how she fended off an intruder at her place when she was little using her dad's like handgun, and that's literally what No Time to Die opens up with. So there isn't really anything, like it starts off kind of shakily because I'm like, oh my god, like you guys have no original ideas to like do anything new. Everything is fucking drawn from the previous movie. Like, can we stop this already? And honestly, for the first like 30 minutes, my fears were coming true. I mean, I was really excited that Kerry Joji Fukugawa was directing this movie. For those of you not aware, he's the same guy that did True Detective season 1 with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, and Beasts of No Nation. And I'm a fan, mate. JP, I don't know about you, but I like this guy's body of work, mate. He's got something going on there.
True Detective, the first season. What a series that was, or season rather.
Not the series, just the first season, I'd say, because if you can't get the same team back, then I'd give up. But I mean,
They're different shows. Essentially, to me, they're just different shows.
yeah,
Like,
he's got a great sense of
yeah.
aesthetic, mate. Like, very, very special director. So, for the first half hour, I wasn't best pleased. I was like, oh, crikey, here we go. Just, we have the Madeline Swan story reenacted for us. Then we have the Vespers goodbye scene at the Acropolis. And I'm just like, do we need this every movie? And then everything kicks off, and I'm getting flashbacks because we're in Italy and Bond is escaping bad guys in cars and shooting at him, and I'm getting massive Quantum of Solace vibes, and I'm just like, oh god, please let's not do this again. But the movie really picks up after that. I was surprised that they did a huge time jump for 5 years later, which was foreshadowing something that I didn't make the connection. So that was cool. Yeah, I think it was a pretty coherent plot.
What are you referencing that they were foreshadowing?
So it's the kid.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, the movie goes full balls to the wall. It goes one better than On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So not only, well, he doesn't get married, but not only is it implied that James Bond and Madeline Swan had a pretty healthy or pretty, they were involved for quite a while, but that they managed to parent a child in that time. Of course, James Bond not being aware of the child until later in the last act of the movie, but took me off guard because I was like, oh, this is unexpected, very, very unexpected.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then she denies it, and because she's mad at him, which makes sense for the character. But yeah, we all know, like, it's his kid. Like, who else is there? Like, there's nobody else around, man.
Yeah, but no, I actually really like this one, mate. Like, again, I didn't think anything was really off-putting in it. Like, there was nothing annoying. A couple of clever gimmicks that they used. I really liked it. There was the whole scene with the magnet-assisted elevator shaft descent, which was really innovative, and I'm like, oh, that's new. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When they steal the chemical, yeah.
Yeah. So coming out of that movie, my gut feeling was, okay, this is a good standard Bond movie.
That's right.
Right. This is how I would expect your average Bond movie that passes the bar, the expected bar, should be. I don't think it's at the level of Casino Royale, but I think it's probably the second best Craig movie in the series to me. Like, what do you think?
Absolutely. I think it is. Good casting choices. Again, I don't think they tinkered too much with the formula. I think it was mostly Rami Malek that was the new guy in here, like the big name actor, and Ana de Armas, of course. She had a little cameo in there. I don't know. I kind of found her cameo a little bizarre. I was just like, why is she so excited and cheery? Because they introduce another character that's very cheery as well. The CIA guy with Felix Leiter. So
yeah, but he ended up being a psycho, right? So,
well, no, it suited his character because I wanted Bond to, get him at the end because of what he does to Felix. So I was like, okay, well, I'm rooting for Bond to smash this smiling fool, But let's talk about the big takeaway from this movie then, mate. Should we dive right in or should we build up to it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about spoilers, right? So yeah, let's just dive right in.
Okay. Bond's officially dead. They kill off the Daniel Craig character.
Yeah, but is he though?
Yeah. There's no way he can survive. Like, the 00 character is not dead. 007, of course, because now with the intense amount of scrutiny that they say.
No. I mean, don't doubt the ability of Hollywood to bring people back from the dead. I'm just going to say that.
Palpatine.
I'm just going to say that.
Emperor Palpatine.
They have this magical ability that they pull out of their asses, and I'm not saying this is gonna happen here, but I'm just saying you never know.
Oh, I hope they
I
don't. That
hope
would
not,
be
man. That would be
awful.
just
Because they showed it.
terrible.
They actually show him dying. Like they show him being evaporated. So I'm
Yeah.
taking that as a pretty definitive, like, okay, thanks for everything done. But yeah, they kill him off. JP, what are your recollections of watching that the first time, mate? Like, how did it
Yeah.
make you feel?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. Just knowing,
Uh-huh.
just hearing about, they've been saying Daniel Craig did this movie, I don't know, begrudgingly, I guess. I don't know. He didn't really want to do it. I don't know why. I guess he's getting a bit, up there in age.
Yeah,
Maybe he
man,
just wants to
absolutely.
retire or do something else. He's done a couple of good other movies, Knives Out being one of them, which I really liked.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's kind of done with the franchise, which makes sense. He's done a lot of them. So yeah, not surprised. I liked how they killed him off. I hope he stays dead, and obviously, there'll be another Bond or whatever whenever that happens.
Yeah.
But a good way to kind of close off the arc and be like, okay, we're not going to touch this entire storyline again. We promise.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. I mean, the the Craig character being killed off. I mean, I think that would have been him forcing the producers to put that in there. Like, okay, I'll do this movie as long as you show me getting, blown up to smithereens in the end. Like, I don't want to come back for your stupid vanity projects. Because
well, maybe he just doesn't want to deal with all the rumors. They can kill off the rumors by just killing off the character.
yeah, and also, mate, like if you think about it, he has to put up with some shit since Casino Royale. Like, can you imagine going from the set of Casino Royale to Quantum of Solace to Spectre to Skyfall, and then reading the scripts and thinking this is amateur hour, like this is just empty stuff.
Well, yeah,
It
I
must have
mean,
been
maybe.
hugely annoying to him. I mean, he's getting paid millions, so hopefully.
Yeah. Do you think, or maybe he was on board? I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. He could have said something. He's the top dog, right? You can't really make the movies without him, so maybe he could have said something.
Maybe he signed a multi picture deal, so
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
But no, I was actually a bit sad. I'm like, oh my goodness, they pulled off a Logan with Daniel Craig. They just like they killed off Hugh Jackman in the Logan movie, which was oh yeah.
Yeah, I was more sad in that movie.
That was really sad to watch. Yeah, because like I think of Wolverine, mate. I first think of the Fox cartoon Wolverine, and then immediately Hugh Jackman. The Wolverine, and they did the exact same thing, and I actually didn't see that coming because I was like, oh, okay, they can't have one too many reveals. Like they had this secret daughter angle, and then they have like this whole new 007 that's in place, and I guess I should have picked up on it when she begrudgingly gives the 007 mantle back to him just for that last mission, going out on a high one last time. But Spectre had kind of alluded to it, so I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, kind of sad send off, but I think a belated send off to the character arc. I would have liked this a lot better if this was maybe the fourth movie in the series where they just closed the loop off, and we could have condensed Quantum and Skyfall into like one Frankensteiner movie. Spectre, okay, that's fine.
To be honest,
Blofeld, sure.
Yeah, do you even really need Quantum and Skyfall? You could just cut those two out and just have like a trilogy. Casino Royale, Spectre.
And Spectre as well then.
Yeah, it was trilogy, Casino Royale, Spectre, and No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
No, you could. Just a couple of things I didn't like in the movie was the whole Blofeld arc. Like he was there for a screen time of 5 minutes, all to kill him off. Why not just kill him off in the last movie? Like, what? People are not coming to watch Christoph Waltz act for 5 minutes. Like, that's not the draw. I don't get that planning.
And it's such a waste of such a great actor too.
Yeah, like they kept him confined to a chair, and Bond doesn't even kill him properly. Like he kills him by accident, and not unknowingly kills him at that.
Well, it's really Léa Seydoux character that kills him, right?
Well, she does it because like this guy knows about her daughter, apparently, Safin, Rami Malek's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that he's named Lucifer Safin. Like, hey, our bad guy, let's just call him,
Yeah. He's the devil.
Villain, bad guy.
Yeah, if you didn't
First
realize
name
he's the
villain.
bad guy, let's just make it.
Lucifer. Not spelled like the Lucifer, but like a Russian
Yeah.
Lucifer Safin, apparently. And I'm just like, okay, that's a Bond villain name. Okay. I'll let it pass. Like, the other Bond names have been pretty,
Up there.
tame,
Let's just say that.
they've been tame. Like, since Le Chiffre, it's been what? Dominic Green, fucking.
Oh, I thought you were like harking back to old Bond.
Oh yeah, I love that cheesy stuff, mate. Are you kidding me? Goldfinger. Auric Goldfinger? Come on. That's brilliant.
What about Blofeld?
Ernst Stavro Blofeld. I think it's just they're trying to bring back the boomer generation with that reference. That has to be it. Like, Blofeld was almost like a parody-like character. He would show up with this stupid cat. He never really posed a threat. He was like the Dick Dastardly of villains, expositing his plan while twirling his mustache and tying the female to the railroad tracks, giving Bond plenty of information and time to save it. Like, just do it, mate. Just fucking get it over with.
Yeah.
But I was disappointed that they cast Christoph Waltz in that. They could have done so many cool things having him on board, but no. Gotta cast him as Blofeld. Come on.
Again, like, Bond hasn't evolved enough, I guess, where the villains are too one-dimensional for me. They're just like ultra baddies, and they always tell Bond what they're gonna do or give away their plan in some grand speech.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this: do you think Le Chiffre, Mads Mikkelsen's character, falls into that category?
No,
I thought he was nuanced as fuck.
No, he was nuanced. Yeah, he had a bit of gray areas to kind of carve into, because it seemed like maybe we can turn him to the good side,
Yeah, you can use him as an asset,
or use him as an asset,
on his,
flip him,
on his buyers, mate. Again, such a coherent, well written out movie where the good guy, bad guy motivations are all laid out, and no wonder it did well.
Yeah,
pretty much to the detriment of the franchise. Again, I would.
Yeah, it set the bar way too high, I guess. Yeah. Because they could not match it after that.
Yeah, no, but in general, I was happy with this movie. I think after a decade of suffering through the slog of bad scripts and sort of like letdowns, I think this was a solid Bond outing, very memorable, mostly for the fact that they actually killed off a James Bond character, which has never really happened in a franchise before.
They've never done that. Yeah,
really good stuff. So hopefully whoever's coming in after this takes the reins. They'll try and do something a little bit more fresh, and keeping within the Bond formula is fine, as long as you do something a little bit more topical, I guess, or believable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. This is a good segue into, I guess, this will be our like a final segment on this. What do you see as the right way to go in the post Daniel Craig era? What type of Bond should they look to create?
It's going to be hard, because now it's not just what direction to go in, but the big question is always who the next James Bond's going to be. Like, I remember when Craig was cast, you and I were like beside ourselves, like, are you kidding me? This guy, like, he's hideous, but my God, did they like give him the proper treatment, and they completely turned it around and made us eat our words to this day. So these guys can do miracles apparently with their casting choices. But since then, the world and the way internet has progressed, it's going to become a huge challenge to cast the next James Bond, because there's been so much chatter about should there be a black Bond, should there be a female Bond, that I think we might not see James Bond back for a very long time.
Yeah, which I think isn't a bad thing. I think it's a
Yeah.
good time to take a break. Maybe take a decade-long break, man. Come
Yeah, like
back a decade from now when people have forgotten
Goldeneye.
about Daniel Craig. They've forgotten about Pierce Brosnan. You got a whole set of new people, a new generation out going to movies, and then maybe new ideas will come around, a new spark, and yeah, the whole identity-based chatter around Bond is just, I don't know, it's just tiresome for me. I'm like, I don't know, should that be the focus? I just feel like, sure, I mean, I would be fine, like, just to be clear, I would be fine, uh, Black Bond. I think that's plausible, that's fine, right? But to me, let's find a good actor, good director, good plot line, and go from there. Right. And really, I think what they should do is pick somebody out of the blue, so somebody totally unknown, right?
Like they usually do. I mean, no, not
Well, Daniel Craig was a known quantity.
Pierce Brosnan and Craig were huge names. Yeah.
Yeah, make somebody's career. I mean, that could be a good or bad thing. You can get typecast as Bond, and
that's right. Yeah.
Right, but that could also make your career and make you a household celebrity overnight.
Yeah. It would be too obvious to go with like somebody known at this point. Just like, you've got so many contenders now because, love him or hate him through this franchise. Daniel Craig actually did kind of, personify that, the whole, how do I say this? Like, the character driven industry, where if you're James Bond, you have to be fit, you have to do this, you have to do that. You're kind of expected to stay in the same shape. I think you could make the same argument for the Thor character, like Chris Hemsworth. My goodness, he worked out for that character, that role. Like he just
and ate a lot.
And Christian Bale for Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So, I think it's much more mainstream now than before. Henry Cavill for Superman, another example, like because Henry was really really skinny before he got the Superman role, and now he's just like, he's like a bear.
Yeah, he's like a bear.
Up. It's good stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna say one thing.
Yeah.
The type of Bond movie that I would like to see, which I don't think they've really done, is go take that spy game formula and bring that into the Bond verse.
Where spy game, like the Brad Pitt movie.
Yeah, the Brad Pitt movie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Where it's a bit more about tradecraft.
Ah, okay. I
right.
See.
And why not even, why does it have to be in current times? Why not go back to the Cold War and recreate Bond in this historical time? Because there's a lot to play with there.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what Spy Game did. Right. Am I right? No.
Well, I mean, Spy Game had like, it had periods.
It did have periods,
acts.
right?
Like, the first act was modern day context, trade talks in China in the early 90s. Then the middle one was
in the 80s
Vietnam and Berlin.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not forgetting that. Yeah. So there's a lot to play with there.
Germany, yeah.
And who's saying you can't go back in time? And that would be, there's a lot of material there. And I want to see Bond, do tradecraft, which is what, real spies do. Ultimately, they're not soldiers. They're different than soldiers.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you know me. I love Cold War stories. So I'd obviously be down for that. But I don't know if it would make sense for a lot of the younger crowd. Like maybe
probably won't.
They just wouldn't understand the intricacies of the Cold War. Like you and I kind of enjoy listening to the insane levels of things that were going on in the Cold War, because like you're right, spycraft is such, when it was analog spycraft, it was so much more exciting without cameras, like without surveillance cameras to say, and high-tech weaponry. It was all dirty, cut and dry, gritty, actual intelligence gathering like ways. Like I think that's what we both love about Spy Game, right? Like that training montage in West Germany is fantastic.
Oh, I love that part of that movie.
It's so great. I mean, one of the better spy movies. But yeah, I think what's eventually going to happen is this property, this James Bond character, it's far too lucrative to just stay dormant for too long. So what they're going to end up doing is they're going to take maybe 3-4 years off. They're going to probably cast some ethnic Bond, probably, and go ahead and try and hopefully take the good pointers from the Casino Royale and the better Bond movies and just go forward with it.
Well, do you think they might just continue with Lashana Lynch's character and just make her Bond?
I honestly didn't. I didn't mind it. Like, there was such a furor made about, oh my god, a woman's a Bond and blah blah blah. And listen, I am okay with lead women characters. I don't think we have enough realistic ones. A couple of ones that I don't even know if I can say couple, but I remember a couple off the top of my head that have left a mark. Actually, in fact, 3. So Clarice Starling, Silence of the Lambs, Ellen Ripley from the Aliens franchise, and I forget her last name, but Detective Stella from The Fall, Gillian Anderson.
Yeah.
So we have had those examples, and I'd love to see more of that in Hollywood, because I feel like those levels of realism and like authentic points of view are very important to have for your leading characters. But I wouldn't mind, mate. I thought Lashana Lynch was fine. She didn't seem forced into the role. She held her own. She was good, honestly. If I may, held her own, going toe to toe with Bond. In fact, in the whole Cuba scene, because that was kind of fun, where they're just exchanging the prisoner.
yeah, that was kind of fun.
So I'm all for it, but
I just don't think it fits this franchise.
Yeah,
like it would just be weird to me, right? The history of this franchise is a male character, and then you kind of change it, which I mean, I just have general issues with that. I would be totally fine in like, okay, if you want to start a new franchise or like it just seems weird to change it now.
But there have been attempts made at female-driven spy movies, and I watched I actually watched a few of these, and they're actually dreadful. Salt,
God. And we watched this. We were like, okay, let's give it a good chance. Yeah, I really want to see how good it is. Although I think I made fun of you for watching Salt.
Well, I mean,
because I mean, anybody could do it. It looked really bad.
Interesting. I mean, in the trailer, it looked interesting. The plot seemed good. I'm like, all right.
At that time, though, Angelina Jolie was the go-to person if you're gonna make a female, action character that can because she did Tomb Raider and from there it happened.
She was a big name, mate. She was like the name at that time. But you're right. I watched another one with Jessica Chastain recently. I can't remember. Jessica Chastain and John Malkovich. Some kind of spy movie. It was bad. I was beneath both Chastain and they had Colin Farrell and just it's just not Molly's Game, and it wasn't Zero Dark 30 either. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
It's not Molly's Game, mate. It's not Miss. It's Ava 2020. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I heard about it. I was like, this does not look good.
No, it doesn't work, mate. It just it's a terrible movie. Like I don't like. She's great. She can act. Everybody's decent at acting, but it just I don't know, mate. Like it doesn't work. It's awful. It's a terrible movie. I can't believe she signed on for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm summarizing, I think we're saying it can work with female. I want to see them. I want to see female characters, strong female characters and lead roles, I think it can work. There's examples of it working, but I don't know if it fits with the whole Bond universe.
You know, one thing I'd like to add on to that, mate, is like it definitely works, but Hollywood needs to stop just copy pasting a woman in a man's role. Because I sometimes feel like they do this quite a bit. Like, oh, sure, we can give you a strong, empowered woman rather, and they just put male characteristics onto a female character sometimes, and
it's just a lack of imagination, right?
It is. Yeah. It's lack of writing skill. I don't know what it is. It doesn't come across as well thought out. So I don't know, man. Like that's just my 2 cents on that bit. I think definitely I would happily watch a female spy movie that's believable. Like I actually thought what's her name? Damn it. In Gemini Man, I forget the actress's name, but she was actually quite good. Gemini Man as a movie had potential, but like just again, Hollywood stretching way the CGI formula way too far by just putting a so over the top concept where the CGI is just so distracting of a young Will Smith. Like again, they had to use darkness and like long shots of him to obscure the CGI. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I was referring to Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She was fantastic. She's actually been fantastic in most of the movies she's been in recently. You know, she's a standout actress, but she actually did a really good job. And I wondered if, you know, they could have done something with her. I know she's not everybody's like, nobody might recognize her by just the name. They might need to look her up. I mean, I certainly didn't remember her name, but usually I do. But you know, something like that would be cool to see.
But yeah, go on.
No, that's it.
I was gonna say, so here's a movie with a female character that I really liked in a spy movie, The Dead.
Oh yeah,
which has Jessica Chastain in it. It's a really good movie. She's playing a spy.
And Helen Mirren.
And Helen Mirren as well.
That's right.
And that works. It's realistic. It's a really, really good movie.
Yeah, check it out if you haven't. Cold War thriller, good cast, really good plot. I love the Nazi hunter plot of this movie, mate. Like, you know me, I love when ultra baddies get their fucking comeuppance as they should. Chastain absolutely kills it in this role. The movie gets a little bit ridiculous in the end, but maybe that's a story for another time. But it is a good movie, 100%, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think with that we should probably call it an episode for this extended Daniel Craig verse of our feature film podcast episode.
Yeah, definitely, it was fun.
Yeah. And we've enjoyed most of what Daniel Craig does as Bond. In the end, we wish he was given better scripts to work with, which you could actually say for every guy that's played James Bond mostly. But yeah,
I just hope they take a big long break. I don't want to talk about Bond again for the next decade.
Yeah, and maybe please don't resurrect the plot of Skyfall or alter it in any way, please. We can't take it anymore.
God, please, no, please spare us. All right, AB, this was fun.
Yeah, mate, with that, we'll be closing tonight. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Mr. AB with the big dog, JP, on the other end. Mate, fantastic talking these movies with you. And we'll see you guys again soon.
All right. See you guys.